Einen wunderschönen. Schön, dass ihr wieder dabei seid bei Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishment. In der letzten Folge haben wir den Herrn, der hier unter der Decke sich versteckt hat, untersucht. Autopsiert, ja, heißt es auf Neudeutsch. Und ja, haben festgestellt, also so natürlich ist er gar nicht gestorben. Ja, war klar. Sondern er ist verstorben worden. So, machen wir es ganz einfach. Er ist umgebracht worden durch Gift. So, finden Sie Pflanzen mit der, untersuchen Sie Gebäude, genau. Wir werden also nach Kew Gardens wieder reisen. Insgesamt haben wir 3 Verdächtige. Wir haben den, ja, was ist das, den Chefbotaniker, und dann haben wir den Sohnemann und wir haben eine Dame, die wir noch nicht gesehen haben, Mrs. White, was ist so? Ja, Mrs. White, glaube ich, war das. Ja, mal gucken, ob wir sie jetzt finden. Zumindest werden wir, so nämlich laut Ankündigung von den beiden Herren hier in der Kutsche, die privaten Räumlichkeiten jetzt durchsuchen müssen. Und es dauert wieder so lange, um dorthin zu kommen. Heieieiei. Und ruckelt. Jetzt aber. Jawohl. So, mein Freund, komm mal her. Jetzt reden wir erstmal Tacheles miteinander. Ui.
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
Ziemlich ruppig ist der.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
Was für ein Ende. Herzinfarkt, offiziell.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say? He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That
And?
He had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
So, gib mal die Schlüssel jetzt endlich her.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before, and now all of a sudden he is trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
Oh.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh, yes. He forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
Aha.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And he... Why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Kohle. Kohle.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Okay.
Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Ach, Watson.
Locked.
Immer noch locked. Gut, dann suchen wir mal den Sohnemann auf. Da ist er ja. Hallo, Sohnemann. Dann erzähl mal.
Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large
Ja, das
glass
war
house.
abgeschlossen. Das war abgeschlossen.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah, at the moment I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
Okay.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes, I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens, and I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Es klingt zumindest ehrlich, wenn wir mal alles beiseite lassen. Wobei natürlich die geröteten Augen eine andere Grundlage haben können, ne?
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the Deputy Director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens.
Okay.
My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
Okay.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Alle sind bisher offen und ehrlich, zumindest mit ihrer Einschätzung und der Art und Weise, wie sie sich äußern.
Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
So, jetzt die Türschlüssel bitte.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Na klar.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Das glaube ich auch. Alberts Ambitionen. Ne. Ne. Okay, hatten wir alles, ist in Ordnung. Wir können also noch nichts weiter hier einbinden. So, hier waren ja keine Türen weiter verschlossen. Aber der eine Raum hier hinten war zu. Und noch ein paar andere. Jawohl. Wir sehen erstmal nichts. Gut. Alles schick. Huch, was war da? Plakette. Ne, Plakate. So. Na.
We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window.
Aha.
This poster is for an exhibition that Martin Hamish was directing, but it had nothing to do with Kew Gardens. This certificate belongs to Martin Hamish. He won a horticultural competition.
Man kann dort genau hingucken. Lass mich raten. Moment. Mach mal nochmal bitte die Tür auf. Hier, das
We can
Fenster.
see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room
Guck mal, was
from
man da
this
drüben...
window.
Guck mal, was man da drüben sehen kann. Direkt jetzt über meinen Kopf hier. Also über Holmes' Kopf. Das ist das Belüftungssystem, was da unten aufgeht.
This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system.
Outlet oder ein Inlet? Was ist denn, wenn man hier was reinmachen konnte? Wir gucken mal hier den Arbeitstisch an. Da ist nichts weiter. Hier eine Rechnung. Nur
A
das hier.
thesis written by Martin Hamish.
Okay. Hier war einer schon an den Schubfächern.
A glasses case. It is empty.
Na, die
This
Brille.
area serves as Martin Hamish's office.
Ja, der hat ja seine Brille auch draußen auf der Nase, ne? Ja, halt. Diplome.
A master's degree diploma. It belongs to Martin Hamish. An award presented to Martin Hamish for Best Grower of the Year.
Okay, also er ist zumindest ein ganz doller Gartenfreund.
These young plants must be delicate if they are kept in the nursery.
Ja, bloß nicht anfassen. Nicht anfassen. Was haben wir hier noch? Nix. Na, hier ist noch eine Tür, da gucken wir gleich mal nach. Watson, steh im Weg. Dann gucken wir mal jetzt hier. Büste. Oh.
It is a bust of Montague Dunn.
Guck mal, was da oben ist.
I am curious if the marble that we found will fit this place.
Na klar.
Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common. The seeds of plant species are stored here.
Hier ist irgendwas abgedeckt. Auch. Hier ist was drin, ne? Nee. Okay, ein Zwischenraum. Ach, das war die andere Seite. Jetzt gucken wir mal hier. Das ist das Seat House.
Open.
Open. Oh. Hallo. Ich gucke einmal erstmal kurz rum. Ja, machen wir erstmal so. Ne, gut. Hier sind Samentüten. Nix. Oh, hier können wir kurz gucken.
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room.
Ja, ich glaube, es ist, ja, ich sag nix.
Materials for college study. They belong to Albert.
Ein Third Class DF. Ist es die Note, oder?
A book about ships. Nothing at all to do with plants. These leather gloves are new and of good quality. They do not appear to have been used. This
Okay.
place serves as Albert's office.
Okay, er kann da jedenfalls nichts sehen. Hier kann man auch nichts gucken. Ja, dann gute Frau. Margarete Weitz. Margaret White. Los, erzähl.
Good day to you, miss. You have
Really?
some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you, too. But
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
Ja. Aber wir gucken dich erstmal an. Teures Parfum. Ja, das sehe ich auch. Hat hier einen Fleck. Guck mal, die Augen, die reflektieren sogar, seht ihr? Je nachdem, wie man... Was haben wir noch? Ohren hat sie. Oh, das sieht nicht gut aus. Frühere Mangelernährung, Pelegre, arme Familie. Aha. Jetzt wird's spannend. Halt, da war's. Unverheiratet, okay. So, und wenn sie aus einer armen Familie kommt, der Hamish hat ja gesagt, ja, und sie hat nur Augen für den, ja, ne, er ist ja auch etwas reicher. Und deshalb.
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh, yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Was? Wieso guter Mann? Hä?
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Aha.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn.
So
That
ein
is how I
Zufall.
found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature?
Oh yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
Aha. Aber was hatte der Hamish doch gesagt, dass der Vater, also hier der Senior, dass der so ein Schutzjäger ist, also beziehungsweise den Frauen nicht abgeneigt, ne?
The Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
Bauchschmerzen.
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
Okay.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious.
Das ist richtig. Wir haben... Ich habe doch gesagt, da kommt noch eine Frau ins Spiel. Miss Margaret White sieht hinreißend und wohlhabend aus. Dennoch kann man eine Reihe von braunen Punkten auf ihren Händen erkennen. Diese sind auf Pellagra zurückzuführen, eine Krankheit, die nach einer längeren Phase der Mangelernährung auftritt. Das zeigt, dass sie ihre Kindheit in sehr ärmlichen Verhältnissen verbracht hat. Die Anzeichen von Reichtum deuten jedoch auf einen radikalen Wechsel ihrer Lebensumstände hin. Der Vater? Schlüssel verwenden für alle Türen, das machen wir noch. Und erfragen Bruchstücke einer Büste. Das konnten wir hier nicht erfragen. Das können wir ja mit... Also wir gehen mal die andere Seite raus. So. Genau, hier war nämlich das Ding. Da hinten ist noch das Ding. Wow. Ruckel, ruckel. Ich kann beim besten Willen nicht verstehen, warum das so... So, und von hier drüben aus diesem Fenster kann man das hier sehen. Und dort ist der vergiftet worden, bin ich mir ziemlich sicher. Und dann wollte er da bloß raus, weil er da eingesperrt wurde. Und hier ist nämlich kräftig geputzt worden an den Fensterscheiben, damit man auch sieht, ob er oder jemand anderes da ist. So, dich befragen wir jetzt erstmal noch. Hallo. Wegen der Büste. Hoffentlich.
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room in particular?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
Nein, definitiv nicht. Denn...
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken. It ought to have been removed during the cleanup. This room is so small.
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Evidently. Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Okay, ja, das machen wir. Holmes, das machen wir. Aber wir machen das nächste Folge. Vielen Dank fürs Zusehen. Und wir sehen uns dann. Bis dahin. Euer Firefox.